Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Cooklyn. I'm David, aka hashtag the other Chef Ramsay. It's Christmas Eve, not a creature is stirring, not even a mouse. And we're getting ready for Christmas dinner tomorrow, and I'm gonna have a little something special planned. So we're gonna get started on the little preparation, and then tomorrow we'll reconvene and I'll take you through the steps of how we're gonna prepare my special dish for tomorrow, which is gonna be a whole bone-in beef rib roast. This is a prime rib roast I picked up from my good friends at Western Beef today. I got the last one on the shelf. I ran in there like a bandit. I tried to run out like a bandit, but the line was yay long. It's crazy. But it's Christmas Eve, so what do you expect when you try to do something the last minute? I just had the taste for a prime rib because I love that for a Christmas or holiday meal. I didn't have one for Thanksgiving. I would normally maybe have a prime rib or a roast beef, something like that for Thanksgiving. But since I didn't have that, we kind of kept it simple. Today or tomorrow for Christmas, we're gonna have this beautiful prime rib roast. Welcome back. So we got ourselves one 2-bone bone-in ribeye. It's already trimmed and tied. The tying is to help keep it shaped while it's in the oven. It just pulls it together a little bit so the presentation is a lot neater, because otherwise it'll kind of splay out a little bit and be a little bit misshapen. So that's just to keep the shape, and it's easy just to cut the twine when you finish cooking and get it out of the way, but it's to kind of push everything together and make it look neat. Yeah, so I'm not gonna go crazy with the seasoning. I like the flavor of the thing that I'm eating to kind of shine, and I'm eating this beautiful piece of beef here. So what I'm gonna do is just a couple of things to enhance the flavor. That's pretty much it. Well, I like to keep it simple. So I'm gonna keep it simple for this seasoning because it's a beautiful cut of meat. So here's what we're gonna do. Salt. It's about maybe half a cup or so. We've got some peppercorns. I just put it in my Krups spice grinder. Pop the lid on and give it a few pulses. So just a few pulses. And we got a good amount of freshly cracked black pepper. I'm gonna go with some sweet paprika. And then I've got some Italian seasoning. I want some herbaceousness to coat the outside of it. So I'm gonna go with some Italian seasoning. This just has like oregano, it has some thyme, it has some rosemary, maybe some dried basil, just a few things to awaken up the flavor. So that's about it. I don't really need any more than that. Maybe I should get some garlic powder in there. Can't have a party without garlic. So I'll throw some garlic in there. And then we just combine this. Simple. You could use a whisk, you could use a fork. I tend to use my finger and just a little bit of stirring action. And that's it. That's a nice seasoning blend. And if you have anything left over, you can just put it in a jar or something like that. Put it in a little Ziploc bag, and then you can have this to season something else later on if you find that you have a lot left over. So here goes the seasoning. I got it in a pan because I don't want to make a mess. I don't want to have to do too much cleaning up later. And we're going to liberally season this because I'm going to put it in the fridge overnight and let that seasoning really soak in. So, just going to dip my hand in here. And then we're coming up high because when you season from up high, you get better coverage. Everybody's going to get a piece. Bringing it up, and I'm trying not to make too much mess because you got to season it from up high, but even coverage. So here we go. pat, give it a rub, and then you keep turning. There you go. And this is the liver season. It's gonna soak in. You've got a pretty nice cut of meat. Got some weight to it. So it's gonna absorb all of this flavor overnight. You know, you're just gonna try to get every single area. Oh, I got a little crack behind the bones right here. Ah, yeah. This is access granted. I'm gonna pour that down in there. What they do is trim the bones away from the meat, and then the bones serve as a rack, a roasting rack. Keeps the meat off of the bottom of the pan. So you get the bones, you get a little bit of the fat here that's gonna render down into the juices, and then it keeps the meat moist and delicious. That's what this does here. So almost done. That's the last side. Try to keep it up high because then you get patches that are too concentrated. When you go low, you get too many patches that are too concentrated. So you try to get a nice even coating on everything. Okay. You got some left over right here. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Bada boom. This is coated nice and evenly. It's ready to go in the fridge. I'm gonna keep it uncovered in a medium part of the fridge where it's not too cold and it's not too warm. That way it'll have a chance to breathe. It's gonna dry out a little bit, which helps with the cooking process. The salt is gonna draw some of the moisture away from the meat. It's gonna help with the cooking process later on. And then this is gonna be beautifully seasoned for us for tomorrow. Stay tuned. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's the big day. Had a great morning, opening up presents. Well, afternoon to tell you the truth, because we don't have no little kids around here no more. So you know we get to sleep in and chill out. Shout out to all the veteran parents out there. You get to have a little bit more relaxation in your Christmas. I got on my Christmas gear. Yeah, buddy. Ralphie in the building. I'm getting ready to watch a little bit of Christmas Story right now. We was just watching The Grinch and napping. So it's Christmas afternoon and we need to pay a little bit of attention to our roast. It's been in the fridge, uncovered, and getting some air circulation, getting some of the moisture drawn out of it by the salt and the seasoning that we put on there. And then it's ready to sit out for a while. So this is just the next step, is really just taking it out. And so you might not be able to see, but I can look, this is sitting in the fridge and looking at the dryness of the surface, how different it looks than it was yesterday. I mean, you can see all the seasoning is stuck to the surface and everything like that, but it's really dried out from the salt and from the air that it's been getting in the fridge overnight. So all I'm really gonna do right now is, because this is a formidable amount of meat, what I'm gonna do, shut up. What I'm gonna do is just leave it on the counter for at least an hour before I get it in the oven, so that it gets closer to room temperature. So what we're gonna do is leave this on the counter until it comes up closer to room temperature than it is right now. It is about 50 degrees right now in the center. You wanna raise that temperature, because if you stick this in the oven right now, all you're gonna do is overcook the outside, and then the inside is gonna be still undercooked. By the time this catches up to the outside, you're gonna have a ruined piece of meat. All of this is gonna be cook, and then the center is gonna be undercooked severely. So we're just gonna leave this out here, let the whole thing come up to about room temperature, and then we're gonna have a better, more even cook. See you in about 2 hours. Hey y'all, what's up? It's been about 2 hours. Prime rib has been sitting out on the counter, getting up to close to room temperature. We're ready to put it in the oven now, and yeah, Here we are. Our roast is ready. I'm gonna put it on this rack and over this pan. I don't want to use the shallow baking pan, the rim sheet, because I'm afraid of what might happen when I'm not looking at it. It might get a little too juicy in there. So I'm just gonna leave it over this deep pan, keep it in the oven. I'm gonna pour a little bit of oil on the top. We're gonna go in at high heat, 475, to start to create a crust on the outside. And then we're gonna lower the temperature and let it finish cooking. So a little bit of oil on the top is gonna help with that forming of the crust, to make that reaction. I'm just gonna pop this in the oven and I'll see you in a little while. Back in the kitchen, Merry Christmas. So I've got my prime rib, it's in the oven now. You put it at 475, put it at 475 for 25 minutes. Once the oven reaches 475, you get it and you leave it in there at 475 for 25 minutes, and then you reduce the temperature. So I've reduced the temperature to 300 degrees, and I've got my brand new, it's Christmas, so I've got my brand new probe thermometer right here, Thermo Pro. I've got it set to 125 degrees. So when this thing reaches 125 degrees here, this will go off and let me know I gotta come and collect it. And then we'll take a look at the crust on the outside and see how it is. If it's not up to the standard, we'll raise the temperature again for a few minutes and get that crust on there. All right, I'll be back. What up? Well, I'm a little fed. My oven is on the fritz, the blink, on the outs. It's messing up big time. Can't maintain the temperature. It's not going where it needs to go. I think maybe the onboard computer or something is going bad. So it's not going where it needs to go. This roast has been in there seemingly forever. And, you know, I got my probe thermometer there. And it's getting there slow. But it's a real slow climb. I'm getting super hungry. I'm about to give up, but we will persevere. I've designed a workaround. So what I'm gonna do now, make my asparagus. There we go. We got a pan heating up and we're gonna go over to the stove. Ready? Hey Gus, what up? We got our pan getting hot. You ready? A little bit of oil. Have some patience when you add oil. Even if you add oil to a hot pan, you want to look for a coating. You want to look for the oil to get viscous, as they say. You want the oil to be able to coat the pan. If it's cold oil, it's not gonna do that. Let the oil give it a chance to warm up. Look for a little bit of smoke if you're using some kind of a light oil. It doesn't have a high smoke point like olive oil. You see a little bit of smoke starting to form, you know you're ready to go. So, just gonna add another asparagus. One fell by the wayside. I like to keep them lined up. It makes for easier cooking, even cooking, better for your plating. Keep them lined up a little bit. All the little bits and stuff from the garlic, anything that's left over, you can just get it in there. I like to use a little spatula. This silicone tongs is working like a spatula a little bit. Get it all in there. All right. You're gonna toss it. Have your asparagus perpendicular to your handle so you can toss it like this. Look at them spin around. So what you want to do, let the ones on the bottom get warm, leave it. You don't got to do too much. Just let it go for a while. And you just rotate them. Let each one of them, each layer, get a little bit of the heat. Don't rush it. I turn the fire down a little bit. It's about medium low, about medium. I guess about medium. Yeah. Just toss it a little bit. Let everybody get some love. You want to spread that garlic around so it's not sitting in the same place, burning. And asparagus, I mean, a lot of vegetables you can basically eat raw. Asparagus is not that enjoyable raw unless it's like really thinly sliced and shaved or something like that. But, I mean, as it hits the pan, as you get it going, and, you know, to your likeness, this is almost done already, and it hasn't even been like, you know, what, 2 minutes or something like that. 2-3 minutes. And also, once these are all heated up, you know, there's this thing called carryover heat. It's going to continue to build heat, and then also the heat from the pan, the heat from the cooking surface, even when you turn it off, it's still going to transfer heat to the pan. So you don't want to overcook your asparagus. It gets soggy, it gets limp, it gets whack. Nobody wants to eat some whack-ass asparagus, excuse me. So what you're gonna look for is a little bit of char, because I like a little bit of a char, a little bit of a smoke to my asparagus. The soy sauce and the balsamic is gonna react to the heat like that. It's gonna allow it to get a little bit of a char, a little bit of color. I'm gonna add a little bit, excuse me, I'm gonna add a little bit more oil because my garlic seems to be sticking and burning a little bit. Turn it down to low. The pan is hot enough now, and I don't want the garlic to be all burnt and start to get bitter. You see that? Then that garlic burns up, like it starts to get bitter. It's a gross taste. So that's done. That's done. I mean, let's take one out. Still got a nice crunch to it. And again, it's gonna, look, fire's off. You can still hear that snap, crackle, pop, sizzle. So it's gonna continue cooking just like this. If you wanted to, and if you like your asparagus a little bit softer, you can pop a lid on it right now, and that's gonna steam a little bit. It's gonna soften them up. I like my asparagus with a nice crunch to it. These are cooked as far as I'm concerned. Tastes good to me. Take that off. These are done. Check on my meat. Pause. So, we're in temperature gate right now. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. My roast is still underdone. I have a thermometer here that says it's 312 degrees. Well, clearly that's wrong because it's not incinerated. I have another thermometer here that says 131 degrees. It just went back in. I have to put it under the broiler. See that? Put it under the broiler to see if I can get the oven up to the right temperature, because the regular oven element doesn't seem to be working. I'm sharing this with you because this is the reality of cooking. Everything doesn't go according to plan all the time. So when we have those hiccups, you gotta adjust, you gotta adapt, you gotta improvise. My next step is I'm going to the yard. I should have just been outside a long time ago and started up one of the barbecues. I just didn't feel like I wanted coal or smoke flavor today. So I decided to stick with the oven, stick it out, and see where I went. But I've got basically 4 different probe thermometers telling me 4 different things. And 2 of them are pretty much impossible based on the amount of time that I've been cooking. And 2 of them are okay. They seem like to be pretty reliable ones that I always use. And, excuse me, stuff happens. So, you know, dinner's going on late today. It's the holiday, it's Christmas. Don't work tomorrow, for some. I'm going to work, but it's okay. Kids are off, so it's all good. You know, we're all adults here. You know, if we eat a little bit late, we just, you know, compensate. So, welcome to Cookland. These things happen. I'll be back. Well, after a long, hard day of battling with the oven, battling with this beautiful prime rib, it's still beautiful. Here comes the reveal. Everything doesn't work out perfectly sometimes, but you know, you just gotta keep on going and see what you can do to improvise, and you gotta put food on the table, you gotta put food on the table. I mean, that's the end of the day, that's what it is. So, we're just gonna finish up strong right now. Yeah, it's 10:30, but we're still gonna eat. Merry Christmas, watch this. Yeah, so I let it rest just for 5 minutes because I ain't got time for that. We're gonna cut the twine. Remember, the twine was there to keep it in a nice shape. And you see it's still in the original shape, it's nice and tight. Cut the twine right off, that pulls off quickly. And I'm dying to see what temperature this really is. So I'm just gonna dive right in. I should have my, you see this? Let me take my own advice. Put this down. No more spin. So give it a slice. Well, I ain't gonna lie to you. Not bad. Not bad at all. A whole day prime rib. It was really low and slow because my oven was acting up. Didn't want to do what it needed to do today. So it was probably lower and slower than I intended it to be, which, you know, sometimes it works out for the best. Let's give it the old taste test. Think it's worth the wait? Merry Christmas from the cooking channel. I think I messed up and said cooking channel. Merry Christmas from the Cookland channel. Prime rib.